the pass to Johnson. Johnson still going. Dummies again. Johnson. Gets it away to Brown. Brown goes in to score.
Ali Salvia down the touchline. Oh, this is unbelievable. They're gonna win it. Oh, what scenes here, what scenes. LeBron James, a shot at history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
All right, we're on. Surly Talk Sports back in the saddle for another week. Pacific Champs, week one, shit did it deliver. Kiwis versus Samoa playing out a heck of a game at Mount Smart. That was absolute scenes. Kiwi Ferns with a big comeback win as well. That was a great watch. NPC semi-finals, that was some good stuff. Black Caps getting pounded by England, but hopefully tonight we can right those wrongs. With the AFC playing out a 0-0 draw, one for the purists, but still a decent watch and good to have the Black Knights back on our screens too. This week, sport doesn't slow down. NBA is back. How bloody good. We've got Samoa versus Tonga, the battle of two proud sporting nations. Can't wait for that. England, Aussie, that Ashes Rugby League series kicks off too. We've got Joe Parker lacing up the gloves for a historic biff, and hopefully he can get his hand raised at the end of that. There's just so much sporting action to tuck the teeth into at the moment. So excited for this week's pod to cover all of that off. Before we get into it though, TAB podcast offer. Cheers to the TAB as well. Day one supporters of Surly Talk Sport, and each week they dish up a podcast code exclusive to listeners so that we can have a flutter with some insurance of some bonus cash back as well. And this week's code, it is for the Samoa versus Tonga game, and the code is KICKOFF, KICKOFF, all one word, and then you place a winning team and margin bet on that game. So say example, Tonga 1-12 to get the dub. If you bet losers, you'll get your money back up to $20 in bonus cash, limit of one per customer. So again, the code is KICKOFF. It is for the Samoa versus Tonga game, winning team and margin bet. You bet losers, you'll get your money back in bonus cash up to $20. Courtesy of the TAB. That should be a heck of a game, and as a mutual fan, being able to have a flutter on that winning team and margin will only add extra fizz to it as well. But as I said, lots of sport to rip into this week, as there is every week really. The world of sport doesn't slow down despite it being late October. So without further ado, let's rip the band-aid off and jump straight in to the greatest game of all, God's game, Rugby League. How bloody good. International footy, shit is it good stuff, man. That game on the weekend at Mount Smart, one of the better test matches I can remember. It had everything. Big crowd, or big Samoan crowd anyway, big hits, played at a rapid speed. Both teams with opportunities to score that they couldn't ice. Some good tries scored as well. It was literally one of the great games for sure. Before we rip into the review of that one though, a couple league stories outside of the Pac Champs I wanted to cover off, with the first one being that news that broke, earlier this week, late last week. Our boy Lukey Met LM7 will be testing the open market on November 1. Of course, gutted to see this. Did semi-expect it, because there'd been a lot of chat around this being the case over the last couple of weeks. The Dragons, Parramatta, the Bears believed to be the main contenders after Metcalf's services. And look, I can't blame the bloke as well. Had a heck of a season, wants to test his value on the open market, see what interest is out there and at what price. Clubs would 100% do the same. They do this to players all the time, so it's hard to begrudge him. And I, unlike a lot of Warriors fans, are trying to say, loyalty goes a long way. He should just sign whatever because the club has stood by him throughout injury. Unfortunately, it's a business, and that's not exactly the way these things work. So that doesn't wind me up as much as it does a lot of other fans out there. To me, Metcalf staying or wherever he goes is going to come down to three big factors. The first one being the money. The second one being where he wants to play his footy, whether that's in New Zealand or back in maybe Sydney or even just Australia in general. And the third one for me that I think you have to factor in as well is, much like every other player in the comp, Luke will have aspirations of winning the competition for sure. So those are the three deciding factors for me. The first one, the money. Look, if the rumours are true, then you'd have to think the Warriors, we do have a fair bit of cap space, and by all accounts, our offer was pretty damn good. The rumoured figure has been around 800k, which I think for a player coming off an ACL surgery, who is a star player, was in line to win the Dally M, is a 7. I reckon all factors considered, that's a pretty good offer. 800 to 850, that's what I would expect us to throw up for a player like Lukey Met. And sure, the Dragons, they would probably throw more at him than that, or geez, you'd have to think, though, not that much more. If you're getting up to the $1 million mark, then you're starting to talk big bicky. The factor for me, the team that I would consider the most would probably have to be Parramatta. We saw this Jonah Pezzett deal just go through. That's a 1-year deal, so they will be looking for a 7 in 2027 when Metcalf would be available. The lure of playing in Sydney and pairing up with Mitchy Moses on pretty good coin at a club that appears to be heading in the right direction, then that would be right up there for sure. The Perth Bears, they would be the team with the checkbook that could just throw crazy money at them, but I am less willing to consider the Bears, especially if the second point I raised in his considerations is a genuine one. Of course, recently had a kid. There's a lot of chat. He might want to be back in Sydney, closer to family. The Warriors are closer to Sydney than Perth is for sure. So I would have to think if that is a big factor for him, then the Perth Bears, you can put a line through them. The Dragons, Parramatta, they are Sydney based, so they would be in the box seat then. The Warriors, though, we are in Sydney every, 2 or 3 weeks. We travel a lot. Maybe even every 3 or 4 weeks is probably more realistic, but we are across the ditch in Sydney a shit ton. So maybe that helps us get across the line as well. The third factor, wanting to win a premiership, for me, that puts a line through the Bears and it puts a line through the Dragons, and it makes it a 2-horse race between us and Parramatta. I don't believe Parramatta have outwardly said that they are in the race or interested in Lukey Met. I'm just putting 2 or 2 together, and there's a lot of rumours that they would be. Personally, I think we're closer to a premiership than they are. When you look at the young talent coming through, we've got that perfect mix at the moment between guys like Demi, Leka, Eddie Iramaya Toiava, these young superstars coming through the grades that are going to be starting to enter their prime, just as guys like Mitchy Barnett, Fisher Harris, and them are all still playing good footy in that window as well. So for me, the next kind of 4 to 5 years is a real premiership window for us. And I'd like to think Lukey Met would want to be involved in that. It would suck to lose him. Heck of a footballer. To me, he is R7. He gives us that X factor. He's got that out-and-out speed about him, but he showed this year, kicking game, ball playing, he can do it all. He's also got that fan factor as well. He is your household name, right? He has the potential to be your pin-up boy, your star player, to replace your SJ and co. And I do think he'll be a big loss for the club. At the same time, if Metcalf decides that he wants to play elsewhere in 2027, then fair enough to him. I certainly won't begrudge him, but it will be a loss for the club for sure. So stand by, November 1 next week. I'm sure there is still a lot to go on. This could just be Lukey just testing his market, the interest, and then he signs with the Warriors, which is what I am hopeful for. But at this stage, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And I know us fans, we will be having our fingers crossed that our Star 7 puts pen to paper and decides that he wants to stay at Mount Smart long term. I've seen a few people not aware that that would start 2027. He's guaranteed to be at the club next year unless he got an early release. So this is a couple years down the track. We will still have Lukey Met in Warriors colours next year. The second point I wanted to cover off was more just a personal milestone. Brian To'o wearing coat kit at the Samoa Fan Day. Massive scenes right there. Shout out to the punter who sent it through. One of the great photos. Apparently, he was given the coat kit at the media day, threw it on the ground because he thought it was Queensland Origin jersey, which, when I heard that, didn't exactly fizz me up too much, but once it was explained to him, Northcote, chucked it on, took a photo. Welcome to the coat, Brian To'o. My first signing as a part of the coaching staff, and it doesn't get much better than that. Jumping into the Kiwis Samoa game, man, I touched on it before, but what a clash this was. And actually, shout out to the Kiwi Ferns and Whetu Samoa as well. What the perfect entree that one was. A heck of a game. 20 points to 0. The Kiwi Ferns were down. They come back to win 22 points to 20. Whetu Samoa showing massive signs of improvement under Jamie Soward. I believe this was 2nd versus 12th in terms of world rankings, and Samoa pushed our girls all the way to the end. Mele Hufanga with the game-winning try. She was blockbusting yet again, and I can't wait to see more of those scenes of her just tearing up Mount Smart in Warriors colours in 2026. But that was a great game to watch, entertainment deluxe, and just well done to both teams really for really turning it on. In terms of the men's game, geez, this was a great watch. 24 points to 20. The Kiwis get the job done thanks to a Dylan Brown try in the 74th minute. But man, this was so physical just from the outset. The war cry set the tone. I wasn't a fan of the booing, I do have to say, and I see a lot of people saying this is just banter. But for me, look, I'm all about booing in general. I don't mind it in the game. When teams run out or whatever, when opposition teams score, when the referee makes a call you don't agree with, I have no problem with the fans booing. Where I do have a problem, though, is if you're going to boo national anthems and you're going to boo cultural war dances. And I just thought the Samoa fans got this one a little bit wrong. It sucked to hear the booing during the haka, but it is what it is. I don't want to make even more of a big deal out of it. I just think more respect should be shown to special things like that. I did want to give a shout out to the Samoan fans though. Overall, I thought they were elite. They packed out the stands, massive bums on seats, certainly dominated the crowd. I think it was about 90% Samoan fans that were at this game. So Kiwis fans, look, we kicked up a massive fuss when the Pac Champs final was scheduled in Australia. People were going nuts, saying that it should be at Mount Smart, it should be at Eden Park. Well, perhaps this is why it wasn't, because we don't get out and support our team as much as we should. So when the Kiwis play Tonga next weekend at Eden Park, I want Kiwi fans to show up, because we already know the Red Sea is going to come in massive numbers. Look at that game at Mount Smart last year. That was 99% Tongan fans. So as Kiwi fans, we need to rise to the challenge. We need to show up, need to make some noise for our boys, because I thought we had a piss poor effort on Sunday Arvo. And when Samoa kicked that conversion, Blaze Talangi from the sideline to tie her up, the Richter scale, the decibels, the crowd noise, that was crazy. And to me, that was the clearest sign of just how one-sided this crowd was. But well done to the Kiwis, got the win. Well done to Samoa too. I thought they looked really sharp. I wanted to give a shout out, first of all, to the big boys in the middle. Before I get through the standouts from each team, I thought the middle forwards from both teams were exceptional. Leota, Fish, Tapane, all huge. Joseph Tapane, best player on the paddock in my opinion. I thought Nafahu White was great off the bench as well. And then for Samoa, Payne Haas, 79 minutes, 52 tackles, none missed. That bloke is just not human. Francis Molo off the bench, 0 handbrakes. Definition of back fence footy right there, just steaming straight into the Kiwis defensive line. Wore a couple shots, but he dented a few rigs too. And man, there are just some great middle forwards in our game at the moment. The physicality in this match was huge, as was the speed of the game. And these big boys, they didn't seem to get too fatigued, man. They just went at it non-stop through the middle for 80 minutes. And it was a footy purist dream right there. So well done to both forward packs. I thought they really ripped in and set the tone for the Kiwis. Other standouts for me, alongside Tapane, who was my man of the match. I thought Dylan Brown was outstanding. He walked away with the MVP for this game. And I think it just goes to show, when an inequality side surrounded by good footballers and given the opportunity to just play his game with a game organising and directing 7, just how good Dillbags can be. I think Knights fans would have been watching that one with a stiffy for sure. I would say though, Knights fans, don't get overly excited. Who's your game organising 7? That is going to allow him to play that way. And who's your forward pack that's going to allow him to get off the back and quick play the balls as well. But Dylan Brown in this game, elite. Ball running, ball playing, really good. And I think Knights fans in general, all jokes aside, should be excited by that. Casey McLean, absolute freak. 6 tries now in 2 games for the Kiwis. And that second try he scored, beating Roger and then beating Junior Paulo, that is no easy feat. Roger is a great defender. Junior, also great. Both of them strong as fuck, but Casey just made it look like light work. This kid is already special, but his potential is insane. Strike centre, good speed, good footwork, strong, big body too. I think he's about 6'4", so he's still got some growing to do in terms of frame and muscle mass, but he's already pretty bloody big. Add to that defensively, he's come a massive way. Doesn't look short of confidence either. I think this kid is a genuine superstar of our game, and he is going to develop into one of the best centres going round. I think he's probably already, a top 6, top 7, top 8 centre, being conservative in the game. And over the next few years, I think we'll see a move into top 3, top 4, 100%. I also thought Wellington Phoenix Crosland was really good off the bench as well. Jeremy Marshall-King, limited minutes due to injury. I thought Phoenix, man, you just know what you're going to get. He's tough as shit, doesn't back down, puts his body on the line. And I thought he was great in the middle, as was Nafahu White and Aaron Clark off the bench. Overall, hard to find a bad performer, really. I thought the Kiwis kick plan was a real standout as well, and I heard SJ touch on this a bit too. Execution at times wasn't always spot on in terms of maybe height on the kick and distance, but I thought we stuck to the plan perfectly. It's really hard to do that. So often you see teams go into a game with a clear kick plan and they stick to it for 20, 30 minutes, and then as the game unfolds, the circumstances change, playmakers change with it, and they decide, fuck that, we're going to chase this game, we're going to mix it up, we're going to do different things depending on the circumstances. Well, not Kieran Foran and Dylan Brown in this one. Foz in particular, they just kept kicking to that right pocket. They went with the contain, not contest method, landing it on To'o's head and just not allowing him to take those second and third tackle carries out of yardage, which he is so good at. He starts sets the best way possibly, and he wasn't allowed to do that in this game. We restricted him to 124 run meters in this match. That is his lowest total across 2025. In fact, only once did he go lower this year, and that was when he played 60 minutes, not 80 for Penrith in a game against the Bunnies where he got injured. So hats off to Foz. Great stuff from him. Jeez, he's a workhorse, 35 years old, battered rig, backs down to no one though. Physicality, he loves it, still running the ball to the line, kicking game. I thought he was really good there. I just love having him as our 7. Yes, Jerome Hughes would be our go-to guy, and certainly he would add a lot to this team, but having Foz there, spiritual and physical leader, I really enjoy watching him in the black jersey. Gotta say, felt sorry for Chance as well, especially on that try to, who was it? Simi Sasagi, I think it was. Man, that was tough to watch. Look, saved a 40-20. Great nudge from Chanel Harris-Tavita. More on him shortly. Unfortunately, Chance, though, hit the fence, hit the concrete, got stuck in the fence. Do have to say, where are his wingers working back for that one? A second rower in Sasagi and a prop in Payne Haas, who was next on the scene. They should not be beating our wingers back to help out our fullback, but felt sorry for him. It did give me Billy Slater 08 World Cup final flashbacks for sure. Tough to be on the other side of that one for Samoa. Gotta say, thought they had their chances to win this game. Dean Mariner, Brian To'o, 2 uncharacteristic mistakes. I think Mariner's one in particular. That to me looked like a clear try that he just bombed. And then Brian To'o, it's not often you just see a drop a catch like that. I think he would have scored that one for sure. So Samoa, with their opportunities, just couldn't quite capitalise on those game-winning moments. Blaise Talangi, mentioned his goal kicking before, banging over that one to draw. He's never kicked in an NRL game before, so to have a perfect night on the boot and slot a clutch nudge like that from the sideline to tie up the game, that was massive. This kid is just confidence deluxe, and I thought he was really good too. Defensively, still a lot to work on. We targeted him and he missed plenty of tackles, but he doesn't shy away, and I reckon him and Luai are going to prove to build a really nice relationship for Samoa in the years to come. Chanel Harris-Tavita, almost thought behind Payne Haas. He was one of Samoa's best, man. Unreal when he came on at 9. Almost kicked that 40-20, like I said, which set up a try, and I just thought his work, playmaking out of dummy half was really good. Tackles everything on defense, doesn't shy away from the physicality. And I thought Chanel had a really nice day. No Terrell May, missed what happened to him pre-game, and I was almost shocked when I was watching it. I was expecting him to come on, but hamstring niggle, so that ruled him out. I think they certainly missed him in the middle. But really, when you look at Samoa's game, I thought they were really good too. Just those opportunities that went begging, that probably stopped them from winning this game. So well done to them. Excited to watch that game this weekend up against Tonga too. That is going to be a heck of a battle. 6 p.m. Sunday night over in Brisbane. Let's just get straight into that preview right now. 2 proud nations, passionate fan bases that are going to show up in massive numbers. This is basically the state of origin of international footy. It's not often we get to see these two teams play each other too. Not since, that last World Cup where Tonga got up 20 points to 18. Samoa, they had their fan day yesterday. Brian To'o doing backflips into the splits. He looks good to go. Massive turnout there in Logan for them. Brisbane is going to turn it on. And we already know the scenes before the game, during and after, in terms of a fan's perspective, is going to be unmatched. The parades out south here in Auckland too will be huge, regardless of which team wins. Tonga, best fans in the game. The Red Sea, they'll be licking their lips at an opportunity to dust off the flags and show their passion. Samoa, they will want to bounce back from last week too and get one up over their old rivals. Two different preparations for these teams, and I can see pros and cons for both sides, to be fair. I think Tonga, week off over in Tonga, nailing their cultural side, connecting there, back with the community and the fans, and I reckon that'll have them primed and ready to rip in. It looked like unreal scenes over there. I did that social media video on their parade, which has gone viral since. Grateful for that. But the pride, the way they get around their team, the passion, man, it almost brings a tear to your eye as a mutual fan. It's just so cool to see. These guys are literally gods, both back home and over here and in Australia for Tongan fans. Then you got a Samoa team that has played last week. They've had the opportunity to get some rust out, to establish some combinations. They'll be better for the hit out. You don't expect those good players that made those little mistakes to make them again twice in a row. There'll be some battered rigs. That was a physical as fuck game. Jaden Sua, Atamariota already ruled out. But I do think their team is going to have a couple late changes. And it's going to be interesting to see, right? Coming in fresh versus coming in out of a hit out. Just who gets the upper hand off the back of their preparation. The matchup in the middle for this one is going to be mouth-watering. And personally, I see Jazz Tavanga named at 9. I thought HIA, he wouldn't be playing here, and I do think there is going to be a late change. I wouldn't be surprised if Benaya starts, CHT moves to 14, Jazz drops out, and May comes in for him, given he is good to go with that hamstring. Currently, that Samoa 17 has 3 9s named in it, and I just don't see that being logical. So that would be my mindset around some potential late changes there. If that is the case, then that would be huge for Samoa, in my opinion, because that middle is going to be huge. AFB, Stefano, Taumalolo up against Haas, Paulo and Papali'i. Then you got May off the bench to come into this one. You got Mo Fotuaika coming in it for Tonga as well. I was gutted to see Demi not in the 17 for Kaufusi, but with Christian Wolf as coach, of course, coach of Redcliffe, so I can see why he would be favouring his man Kaufusi, just because that's his guy at Clubland, but I thought Demi on the bench there would add some real impact. This is going to go down to the wire. The hits are going to be huge. Neither side will be out-passioned, that's for sure. They will be so up for this. To me, it comes down to just those little moments in which either team can take them better, whether it's an Isaiah Katoa in the 7 for Tonga, just peppering To'o all day, similar Kiwis kick plan, and then this Tonga pack just bashes them up. Or whether it's a Mariner, a To'o, Luai, someone like that, Blaze Talangi, icing some of those line breaks and turning them into points. These two teams have met each other 21 times. It's currently Samoa, 10 wins, Tonga, 10 wins, and 1 draw. You literally can't get any closer than that. This is bums on seats stuff, must watch, and you best believe I'll be parked up Monday, public holiday, so why not have a couple tins? Gun to head, I'm probably going to go Tonga, more on that shortly in the punting segment, but this is a genuine lip licker. And I just can't wait to tuck into everything about this game. It is going to be so bloody good. Then, of course, we get England versus Aussie in the Ashes, which is a series that I am looking forward to. 3 tests over there in the UK. These two teams haven't played each other since 2017, which is hard to believe. Aussie, they've named their team. England, they haven't so far, but the standouts for Aussie has to be the 4 debutants and then that spine. That spine the Kangaroos have rolled out is pretty damn crazy. Walsh at the back, Munster at 6, Cleary at 7, Grant at 9. It is hard to get much better than that. When you factor in Dearden in 14, Moses doesn't even make the 17. Just goes to show how stacked they are in certain positions. The forward pack is where I think England will really look to take them on. The back line, it's hard not to see Australia have an advantage there. At the same time, though, England, they will be up for this. I reckon the English are going to want to make this game dirty. They're going to make it an arm wrestle. They play a tough style of footy. And the English fans, you got to remember, Wembley Stadium sold out. They're going to pack it out. They're going to try make it a cauldron and make things as uncomfortable as possible for the Aussies. Look, if they can catch Reece Walsh on a bad day, which hasn't happened often much over the last 2 or 3 months, if they can pressure Ngawanganetawase, if they can make it tough for Shibasaki and guys like that who are lower on experience at the international level and playing in a cauldron like this could potentially be, then I reckon this game could actually be really tight. I was shocked at the odds for this one. Again, more on that shortly in the punting section, but England being completely written off. I wouldn't be surprised if the English really push them and if they potentially pull off the upset in this. I will be tipping Aussie to win, but in a tight one. I reckon the English are going to turn up and make this a heck of a game. But man, how good is international footy at the moment? She's in a great place. There's genuinely 5 teams that I think could win next year's World Cup. You can make arguments for 5 of them. Aussie, Kiwis, Samoa, Tonga and England. They are all genuine contenders. Then you've got Fiji having upset potential. Like they showed on the weekend, Dream Buller scoring 4 tries in the first half. They have got strike, man. You chuck a Kikau in there who wasn't available. You chuck the 3 Fainu brothers who have declared for Fiji too. That'll help them massively. Pair them up with Api Coruscant in that spine. You've got Taruva out on the wings, man. They've got some strike. And then you've also got PNG, who will also have upset potential too. I can't wait for that World Cup in Aussie next year. I think I'm going to have to head over for that one. That'll be special. But can't wait for this weekend's footy. And for some updates on Lukey Met too, once that November 1 deadline rolls around next week. No doubt, plenty more storylines to pop up over the next week too. But enjoy your international code. I reckon it's going to be a doozy of a weekend for God's Game Rugby League. Rugby Union and the Bunnings Far Cup. This is it. The big dance, the grand final. Just 2 teams left with Canterbury hosting Otago on Saturday night. Looking forward to that clash. Before we look ahead though, we must review the 2 semi-finals that went down last week. Otago 41-17 winners on your Friday night against Bay of Plenty. It was a commanding win from the Golden O. They dominated that second half, man. Bay of Plenty, they were really good in the first 40 minutes. They were going head to head with the home side, but the second half is where Otago showed their class. They turned on enough points there to come away with a 24-point win. And it was just unreal to see a big crowd there. 11,000, I think the total finished at. But shit, did it sound almost like it was sold out. Atmosphere was unreal, and I think that played a big part in getting the home side home as well. It was an entertaining display of running rugby, a great game to watch. Otago, just too much firepower in the end. I will say I thought Bay of Plenty really missed their skipper and Curdy Eklund, of course, unavailable after that nasty gash to his face that required 60 stitches, so he missed this game. And then Caleb Trask, who went down with an injury in the season, back end of the season. I think he was a massive loss for them. Standouts for Otago, your usuals. I thought Casey was great as always. Leo Willie, he was huge in the forward pack for sure. I thought Jonah Nariki, let's get freaky, such an underrated footballer, and he was really good out on the sting. And then the young 9-10 combo, which is proving so fruitful for this team. The Sledgehammer scored himself another try, and he was dynamic all across the park. Fuck, does he have a huge future in this game. Everyone's sucking him off, so this is no new news. But man, he's going to be so good. Only 74 kilos, still going to grow into his body a little. But man, he certainly has the makings of an All Black number 9, that's for sure. And then I reckon the unsung hero of the team this year, in the 10 jersey, young Cammy Miller. Still only 23 years old, but he plays with a real maturity. Got a great kicking game on him. Almost the perfect conductor. He leads this team around the paddock so well, puts them in the right areas to come away with points. And I reckon the most underrated aspect of his game, which has really improved this season, has been his running game. That has come on in leaps and bounds. He flexed it in this game where he set up Pledger for his try. Geez, as a Highlanders fan, I feel like I've been saying that a lot over the last month, but they have to be so excited. Josh Jacob going there in 2027, they will have 2 of the best 10s in the country by then, I reckon, because that's what Miller is going to develop into as well. The signs are so bright for the Landers, so much young talent. Stanley Solomon heading down there as well. Jamie Joseph is forming himself a heck of a roster. But well done to Otago. It was really just how they've been playing footy all year. They've been the best team to watch in the competition in terms of attacking flair, and they turned it on again in this one to get a big win and book themselves a ticket to the big dance. Then we had Canterbury hosting Hawke's Bay on the Saturday. I was hopeful of an upset in this one, but it wasn't to be. Pretty similar story to the first game, to be fair. First half, really close. Hawke's Bay in with a sniff. Had opportunities to score points too. Just couldn't make them count. Second half, home side, foot on the throat. And in the end, they lock in a dominant win off the back of a big final 40 minutes from them. They were brutal on defence, Old Canterbury, as they have been all year. Their line speed is just huge. They don't miss many tackles. They force opposition teams to either kick the ball away or make mistakes. And that's unfortunately what Hawke's Bay did, in particular in that second half. Canterbury's loose forward trio, man, they are relentless. Led by their skipper and Tom Christie. Tackles McGee. He must make 30 to 40 plus tackles a game. If not, then that's the way it seems watching him. The bloke has a massive engine on him, and he is going to be a big loss to New Zealand and Canterbury rugby next year. I am sure of that, but he's a heck of a player for Canterbury, that's for sure. Inspirational leader, leads through his actions. And man, they are just so good around the breakdown. I also thought Dallas McLeod's daughters was really strong in the midfield too. Another good game from Shea Haki as well. But pretty textbook stuff from Canterbury there. Finals footy, they just know what to do. They turned it into a grind and they just strangled this Hawke's Bay team and made them pay for every mistake they made. Which leads us through to this week, the final. And I'm excited for this game. 7 o'clock on your Saturday night. Hopefully a good crowd turns out. That crowd for the Canterbury Hawke's Bay game was shithouse. There's no two ways around it. Yes, clash with the cricket. Whoever scheduled that needs an uppercut. Why are the Black Caps playing in Christchurch in October? No shocks, it was rained out. That should not be happening. But also, why do you put them on exact same time slot? I will never know. But Canterbury fans, it's fair to say they didn't exactly turn up for this game. I really hope they show up for the final. I reckon Otago fans will travel too. Not since, 2005, I think it is, have Otago been in a final, so they will be hungry, and they will be smelling blood in the water too. They will be up for this one. Canterbury, news today that they will be without 3 of their All Blacks, all in the forward pack, which is a massive blow for them. No Bell, no Bauer, no Derry. That is going to hurt them up front 100%, and this Canterbury forward pack has been relentless all year. They've chewed up and spat out opposition week in and week out. But this Otago pack certainly is handy too, and down 3 of their best troops, they will smell blood in the water, and they will want to take them on physically at set piece time and around the paddock as well. I reckon this is huge for Canterbury. I do have to say, kind of sucks for those players too, and I get it, black jersey, that is always your number one priority, and if you ask the players what they would rather wear, Canterbury jersey, All Blacks jersey, of course they're going to say All Blacks jersey, but surely there is a way where these guys can play this game and then jump on the plane. When you look at the names, Bell, Bauer, Derry, I don't expect any of those 3 to be in our 23. Maybe Bauer for that first test, just because we do have injuries to our propping stocks. But I don't think either of them are going to be in the 23. So surely they'll be able to play this game, which they've worked bloody hard to make the final win all year. I don't know, it would kind of suck, I reckon. Surely there's a way where you can have the best of both worlds, but it is what it is. The black jersey is the priority, as the Canterbury coach said himself, and they will be unavailable. This, to me, really is a battle of 2 teams that play contrasting styles. You've got Otago, young. They play at speed, they play with flair. Don't get me wrong, they still do the basics really well, but they play an exciting razzle-dazzle style of footy where they will score 30 to 40 points every damn week. They're still good defensively too, but they will just run and play teams off the paddock. Then you got Canterbury, who are built on being clinical, being ruthless, literally made for finals football. Strong at set piece, good kicking game, play in the right areas, turn every mistake you make, or the majority of them, into points in some shape or form, if not pressure at least. So I reckon this is going to make for a great game to watch. Of course, last time these two sides met, Otago went to this exact venue and came away with the Ramfurly Shield. So Canterbury will be stinging off the back of that, and they will want revenge. Otago would have taken confidence from that though, and they'll be looking to make it 2 wins on the trot at Apollo Project Stadium. So my heart, this is a real heart versus head one. Heart says Otago, head says Canterbury. Again, I'll give you my exact tips in the punting segment shortly. But now that I've seen these three All Blacks out, I genuinely do think this is the year of the Golden O. I'll be supporting them 100%. As soon as Harbour were knocked out of the comp, they were the team that I was rooting for. Figuratively, not literally. I wasn't literally rooting for Otago, but you get my point. I'll be cheering for them, and hopefully they can bring this one home. It's been a great year of NPC code. Really excited to watch this final because I think it'll be a great game. The two best teams all year, and it's not often you see them advance through to a final. Often there's an upset, but I'm glad to see that both of them have been able to advance. Of course, All Blacks next weekend. That is when we get treated to them first. Taking on Ireland in what should be a great game in Chicago. Bit of a money-making experience, but you best believe the boys are going to be up and looking to try and pull off this kind of semi-grand slam, where after this we'll head to Scotland, to Edinburgh, to take on the Scots, of course, no surprises there. Then we'll head to Twickenham to take on England, and we'll head to Cardiff to take on Wales. Some historic venues right there. If we can go 4 from 4, clean sweep, that would be a really nice way to round out the year. Exciting year next year too. That South Africa tour that got announced, that is truly bucket list stuff. It's not often the All Blacks go on tours like that, especially up against our greatest rugby rival in South Africa. I'll do literally anything to have bums on seats for that plane. Fuck, is next year a great year for sport, man. Can't wait for it, but still, All Blacks travelling out this week to head over for the Grand Slam, so safe travels, lads, and looking forward to watching the boys rip in next week against Ireland. But go Otago, hopefully they can pull off a great win in the NPC. To me, that would cap off what has been a bloody good Bunnings Far Cup overall. Alright, the punting chat and weekly wrap worked well last week, had some good feedback on it, so let's keep those two combined for now and tuck into some odds and some sporting chat as well around some events that are also going down this weekend. We'll start with the Pac Champs. Of course, the code this week, a reminder, kickoff. Place a winning team and margin bet on that Samoa versus Tonga game. If your team doesn't win, your bet doesn't come through, then you'll get your money back in bonus cash up to $20. So far, the TAB can't split them. Tonga $1.90, Samoa $1.90. The line is 1.5. Of course, 6 p.m. kickoff in Brizzy, so conditions should be good. The stands are going to be packed, and this is going to be a genuine lip licker of a game. For your winning team and margins, those also can't be split. Tonga 1 to 12, $3.05. Tonga 13 plus at $4. Samoa 1 to 12, $3.05. Samoa 13 plus at $4. So the 1 to 12 options seem to be the most popular with the punters, but $3.05, that is some bloody good odds as well. Personally, with that code, I'm going to be jumping on Tonga 1 to 12 at $3.05. I do think, well, by my logic anyway, I'm hoping that they can get up. I think it's going to be incredibly tight though. As I mentioned before, these two teams have played 21 times. Both teams have won 10 games, and then there's been the one draw. Literally Skinner sack stuff. You can't separate them. And I don't think there's going to be much in this one either. Your other bets I like in this game, try scorers for Tonga, Tolu Kola, $2.80. I reckon he's great value. Out on that edge where Casey McLean had so much luck, I reckon Tonga head in that direction a fair bit as well. So I expect him to dot, and great try-scoring form for Manly. He's had a couple weeks off. Of course, went down with injury towards the end of the year, but he'll be fresh and ready to rip. And I reckon Tonga will try to get a lot of ball to their strike centre. I also like Ali Katoa. What the Ali? What a season he has had. Dally M, second rower of the year. Arguably the Storm's best player in their grand final. If Reece Walsh didn't get the Dally M, then he would have been right behind if Melbourne Storm had got the dub. $3.50 for him to cross. I love that as a bit of a second rower special for Samoa. Brian To'o, surely he bounces back from a tough performance last week. The way he was moving at the parade suggests that his ligaments are lubed up and he is ready to rip in at $2.05. And then I also like Blaze Talangi, $4.50. I just have a bit of a feeling about Blaze. I reckon he's going to be up and about for this one. A good ball running 6. $4.50 for him, some real value there. Another bet I really like, you can head to your doubles market, and this isn't a bet I've placed before, but I think there's some real jam here. So you can get a doubles on an anytime try scorer into a winning team and margin. I have gone with Tolu Kola to score, Tonga 1-12, $7.50. To me, that screams a nice little payout right there. That's my preferred try scorer and my preferred winning team and margin packaged into one. There's a shit ton of those options, so you can literally do whatever you want. That's just my pick, but go check out that double markets there for an anytime try scorer, winning team and margin double. I reckon you'd be surprised at how juicy some of those options get. My same game multi for this one, I'm going to go Tonga, Ali Katoa to dot down, and Blaze Taulangi to dot down at $19.69. And then first, second, or third try scorer, Tolu Kola, $5.80. How bloody good. Can't wait for this game. It is going to be an absolute doozy. Then also in your International Rugby League, sticking just to the men's games this week, of course. No Kiwi Ferns this weekend. I think the Jillaroos will absolutely pile on the points. And I think the Cook Islands women, shout out to them, actually got a big dub last week. I reckon they'll beat Tonga this weekend too. So if you like having a punt on the women's international game, then those would be my tips for those. Try scorers not up at time of recording, but sticking to the men's here, of course, first test of the Ashes, touched on it before, gets underway this weekend over in Wembley. I was shocked at these odds. Aussie, $1.22 favourites. England, $4.25. The line, 13.5. I'm going to eat that up personally. I think that line plus 13.5 in favour of England at $1.90 is just way too much. For your try scorers, odds not out yet. England haven't named their team at time of recording, but for Aussie, I like Marky Mark and Reece Walsh. They'll be popular for sure. Katoni Staggs, he will also prove to be lucrative. For the English, Herbie, the herbivore, you got to have him. Dommy Young, he will also be a go-to there. I think Aussie 1-12 at $2.85 is some real value. England at Wembley, they won't be pushovers. And then England plus 13.5 in case they can get up and get the win. That way that bet would still win. But Aussie 1-12 at $2.85. Probably the winning team and margin for this one. Bet though is England on that line. I would be shocked if they get walked over despite this Aussie side being pretty bloody impressive on paper. NPC final. How good down there at Apollo Project Stadium. The last game of rugby that will be played in the scaffolding stadium until, of course, Canterbury, Christchurch, the Crusaders move into that new One New Zealand Stadium, Te Kaha, next year. Excited to check that bad boy out. Roofed stadiums, we need more of them in this country, and that's exactly what that one is. But Canterbury go in, $1.50 favourites, been the best team in the comp all year, but hot on their heels have been the Golden Otago, the lads from the Sistema Lunchbox. They will be up and about for this one. $2.50 underdogs, line 5.5. And just as I was about to record this, it was announced, as I mentioned, those three All Blacks forwards not playing this week. So I do expect those odds to get crunched in a little in favour of Otago. Geez, I reckon they could be up for this. I was shocked to see the best back team and your winning team and margins was Canterbury, 13 plus at $2.70. I can't see that happening. I think Otago are going to be right in this game, and I don't see it being a blowout either way. Of course, cast your eyes back to that Shield game. She was right down to the wire, and I expect it to be similar. My best bets for this game, results-wise, I think if you're going to be fair dinkum, my best shot here is the old faithful fence sit bet. The fair dinkum faithful fence sit bet. The try bet option. Either team to win by under 7.5 points at $2.60. For a same game multi, I'm going to go Otago plus 9.5 into the pledge hammer. Dylan Pledger and Shea Fihaki to score. My little special for this one, an option that I've never punted on before, but it tickles my fancy in this one. First scoring team play. Canterbury, penalty, $4.20, $4.20, one for the Stoners. For Canterbury to score the first points of the game via the boot. It's finals footy. When you get a penalty in your own half, you point for the sticks. Shit, Shea Fihaki, he'll point for the sticks from 70 out if he needs to. I reckon that is really good odds. $4.20 for them to kick the Gilbert in between two upright poles to get us underway, to trouble the scoreboard first. I don't mind that at all. And then upset bet, why not? Back your heart, Otago 1-12, $3.75. The Spate Soldiers to be this year's NPC champions. I just have to have something on it because I really hope that is the way it goes. In terms of Parker, of course, he fights Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Really looking forward to this one. Taking on Fabio Wardley in what should be a really interesting biff. Wardley, a young up-and-comer, very respectful bloke. The build-up has been great between these two lads too. You can tell Joe, he knows Wardley is that next guy coming through the ranks, and Wardley, he respects Joe and just how good he has been over the last couple years. So there's not really the bad blood in this one, but there is a shit ton at stake. Usyk, he's come out and said he will fight the winner of this fight. He's not interested in a Fury rematch. He wants to fight the winner between these two, which is music to Kiwi fight fans' ears. Parker well and truly deserves to be the next in line to have a crack at those belts. He should be having it already, but it is what it is. Hopefully Smokin' Joe can go out there, knock this bloke out, old Fabio, send him home, fuck off Farbs, we'll call it, and then he gets that chance at Usyk before he retires. So $1.26 favourite, Wardley at $4. Method of victory, your best backed is Parker, KO or TKO at $1.91. Wardley paying $5.50 to knock him out. To go to the decision, for the fight to go the distance, that's only paying $1.53. So I think my best bet for this one is Parker to get the KO or TKO at $1.91. Then in terms of your round options, if you scroll down on the app, right down to the bottom, you'll see round markets there. Now, if you click the total rounds 6 and go down to the within 6 rounds option, $3.25. That's for Parker to get the fight done within the first 3 rounds. I don't mind those odds. Pretty Ivan Leary, but I reckon if he's going to knock him out in the first 6 is a bloody good crack. Why not? That's literally, just over half the rounds available, 10-round fight, so yeah, I don't mind that at all. So Parker, KO, TKO, $1.91, method of victory, Parker head-to-head, and then the fight to be over within the first 6 rounds. Those are my bets for this one. Get up, Joe. Geez, such a great bloke and an insane run of form at the moment, and I think fighting Usyk would be the ultimate reward for him. Fuck me, does he deserve that. NBA, great to have it back on our screens. I'm actually recording this early doors Wednesday morning for full transparency before the games tip off, so I can tuck into both of those. Extremely excited. Activated my league pass this morning in anticipation. Did my fantasy draft on Monday night. Went pretty well. First time I've ever been the #1 pick. Shit, it was tempting to take Wemby. It was also tempting to take Luka, Skinny Luka, my MVP pick for this year, but I played her safe, straight bat, and went with Nikola Jokic. I don't think that's a decision you'll regret. He's always durable, and saying that now, I've probably cursed him, and he'll get injured. But hopefully, the Joker just has another one of his years. I think Denver are going to be really good this year. And I was actually lucky. I took a swing on a few players, to be fair. I picked up Embiid back of the 5th round, last pick of the 5th round. Geez, if he can stay healthy, that would be a heck of a get. Look, 2-3 years ago, if you'd told me I'd have Embiid and Joker in my fantasy team together, I would have thought that was literally impossible. Those two were MVP and runner-up, so yeah, look, if we're winding back the clock, then that's a great pick. Hopefully it plays out that way for me too. But most of you probably don't give a fuck. Let's get into some punting for your Thursday games. You got the Magic taking on the Heat. I like the Magic to get that one. I think the Magic are going to be really good this year. Picking up Desmond Bain to go with Franz and Polo, I reckon that is a really nice pickup. And remember too, 3+ leg same game multi promo applies on the TAB for these games. So place a 3+ leg same game multi on your basketball games. Misses by 1, you'll get your money back in bonus cash up to $50. It is a limit of 1 game per day, so choose wisely, but there's literally games almost every day. So great little promo to have right there. Knicks, Cavs. Knicks $1.96 underdogs. Cavs $1.85. No Garland, no Strus for the Cavs. They'll start the season without them. I like the Knicks to kick off their season with a win. $1.96, really good odds. They are deep this year. Jordan Clarkson going to be a great acquisition. Yabusele, they got Mitch Robinson from the get-go, so I like them. Hornets, I think they'll beat the Brooklyn Nets at $1.50. Celtics Sixers, that's an avoid game for me. Yes, no Tatum, but I think people are still underestimating the Celtics. They will be punchy for sure. Hawks, $1.45 favourites up against Toronto. I like the Hawks. I think they're going to be good this year. Then you've got the Grizzlies taking on the Pels. That'll be a good game, close one, probably an avoid from a punting perspective. Bulls, Pistons. A lot of people high on the Piss this year. $1.55, don't mind that. Bucks should pump the Wizards. Jazz should get dispatched by the Clippers. Dallas Mavericks, $1.70. San Antonio Spurs, $2.15. That'll be a heck of a game as well. And then you got the Trailblazers and the T-Wolves, probably back the T-Wolves there. And the Phoenix Suns taking on the Kings. Geez, Suns pretty depleted, but they're $1.55 favourites. Kings $2.50. Maybe Sack could get up early for a bit of an upset to kick things off. But some great games to punt on tomorrow. It's just non-stop action with the NBA. Same game multis, player, points, rebound, assist options. It's all so good. So make sure you check out the app before the game and get stuck into those. T20 cricket, Black Caps. Shit in the bed so far. England smacked us all around the park at Hagley Oval on Monday night. They were just dispatching seeds left, right and centre, sending sixes all over the show. If we're going to compete, we can't drop simple catches. That's what we did. We allowed England to get off the hook on multiple times, and with the batting lineup that they've got, if they dish up opportunities, we just have to take them, and hopefully we can do that at Eden Park tomorrow night, or actually tonight when you're listening to this. Top run scorer market for us, I'm going to go with Russian again. I'm going to run it back. Why not? Seifert, a real chance though. If he can start things off hot with the bat, he can bang some boundaries, that's for sure. So Russian, my first bet, then into Seifs. Wicket taker, I still believe in Matty Henry. Hopefully we can get it right. Our bowling attack this time, just too wide last time, and they were pumping us, the English. Get on some English players overs in your total sixes hit market too. That'll be good. But get on the Caps, 225 underdogs, a big Eden Park crowd. Thursday night, Thirsty Thursday. Hopefully the punters get out there. I'm actually head along myself, so it should be a good watch. Couple tins and rip in up the lads. Hopefully we can level up the series. A-League, tough start to the year for the AFC, but still, it was a win on the bet slips. If you took Auckland FC to win or draw the double result market, 0-all, you bank that. $1.57, nice little multi-leg right there, and we move on. Bit of a poo slinger, not exactly one for the casual fan. She was real purist stuff, but look, a 0-all draw to kick things off and come away with a point on the road against the team that ruined our finals hopes last year. Look, you could think of worse starts for sure. So well done to the lads in a way. Great to see them go over there and at least return with 1 point. This weekend, she's home ground. We are back at Mount Smart, baby. 5 p.m. kickoff on your Saturday up against the Western Sydney Wanderers, who drew 1-1 with Melbourne City on the weekend. A good result for them as well, actually. We are massive favourites in this one. $1.80. The Wanderers paying $4. Struth. Hey, but get around the boys. $1.80, we are going to win for sure. Exact market, 2-0 in front of the port. The lads will turn on too, and we will bring back that level 4 lockdown defense to keep them scoreless. You got to bloody love it. NFL, UFC, we've got Aspinall back in the cage this weekend as well, so plenty of sport to punt on this weekend. There's some great pony racing too, if that tickles your fancy. Geez, was last weekend good. It was a bit of a weekend for the favourites, unfortunately, so if you like backing in some underdogs, then it wasn't to be. But lots of sport to punt on this weekend. Women's World Cup cricket, that's still rolling. MLB finals as well. EPL, Liverpool lost to United. Shout out to Nick. You got one over me there, mate, and you had the bet slip to prove it as well. That is heartbreaking scenes, but hopefully the pool can bounce back. So good luck on the Carmichael punt this weekend. Hopefully lots of green ticks on bet slips for you. Get up, Joe Parker. I'm hoping Tonga get the dub, but I don't really mind as a neutral fan. I'm just excited to watch that game. Let's hope England can pull off the upset against the Aussies, plus Otago upset NPC final. How bloody good would that be? Right, that's us for another edition of the Surly Pod. Hopefully I've ticked every box there and you have come to the end of this episode with a smile on your face and you're not yelling at your phone or computer screen about something I've potentially missed. Good luck if you're having a punt this weekend. Remember to use the TAB code as well. Kickoff, winning team and margin for that Samoa versus Tonga game. Get up Otago. Enjoy your Pacific Champs footy. Should be a great watch. Get up England for the upset in the Ashes. Go Joe Parker, knock out old Fabio. Enjoy the NBA, great to have it back. UFC as well, up the mighty Black Caps, up the Black Knights. I'll catch you back here, same time, same place next week to rip in to another huge weekend of sport. All Blacks back, Kiwis back, how bloody good. Big Fizz.